It all begins and ends with you. So here's some thoughts about weight loss and what it takes to change habits and maintain those habits for the rest of your lives. So here's the number one. We have to have a purpose greater than ourselves. A purpose greater than yourself. It's not all about you. I might be the beginning and the end, but it's not all about me. So you have to have a purpose. This is not the same as a goal. A purpose and a goal are not the same. A purpose in this context is a defined reason to exist that's bigger than yourself. To be there for your family, to create a work situation which interests you and will carry you into the future for success and retirement, to be an example for your friends, coworkers, and family, to want to make a difference in the world by being that example for others. That's a purpose. A goal, I want to make money. I want to lose weight. I want a new car. I want to increase my business. Those are goals. That's not the same as a purpose. Your purpose might also be freedom from medical tyranny, freedom from the revolving door of the sweet foods, the Pop-Tarts, the cereals as a kid, into the luncheons, which are all processed food at school, and then into the supermarkets where they're marketed to children and to people with the processed foods. That's why they're at the counter when you leave. And that revolving door ends up going into the doctor's offices, being put on meds, the depression, the lethargy that comes with it, going into now you need medicine because you're not healthy. And it was all began in those formative years. And now you got to worry about the cost of insulin because you're metabolic syndrome and you got diabetes. Or maybe you have other issues, cognitive problems, learning problems. Maybe you've developed the spectrum. You're on the spectrum and they don't know where that comes from, but I can tell you toxins have a lot to do with it. That's medical tyranny. You got no choice. And your purpose for your family to be healthy is to help them to avoid medical tyranny, to not allow your body to become sick, to become weak and vulnerable. When we allow ourselves to be sick, weak, and vulnerable, we become a slave to our body and thus a slave to disease, infections, viruses, medicine, drugs, invasive procedures, knowing they could have been prevented with simple lifestyle changes. I used to have a poster in my office, and it had a picture of a man carrying sticks on his back. I think it was from the Led Zeppelin cover. It said, "If I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself." Now, when someone has a purpose, a reason bigger than themselves, it then becomes quite easy to make and change those bad habits that might impede their purpose. So bad habits might get between you and your purpose. And when that becomes a problem, you'll get rid of those bad habits. Trust me, it'll be easy. Without a greater purpose, it is difficult to want to make changes in your own personal life. Yeah, this resonates with me. I wrote this, probably 10 years ago. Without a greater purpose, you will lose the desire to change, even when it's just about you. Just leave me alone. I'm fine. I'll die. I don't care. You'll hear him say that. Just leave me alone. But remember, everybody in your life, we're like going through the water with a boat, and the waves that come off the boat affect everything around you. And you're not an island. You're in a sea of energy, and your energy either attracts or repels those around you, and they affect everybody and everything. So just because you go off into the room and say, "I'll just do what I want and the heck with the world," you're affecting the world. But maybe that's a little heavy. So without a higher purpose, we are selfish and self-centered to the core. Our selfish nature is all about us. What I want, how quickly can I get it? What makes me happy? What makes me angry? What can I get from you? You're taking this from me, etc., etc. We become protective, we become insecure and greedy. This leads to criticism, self-righteousness, anger, and jealousy. This all about me attitude is what leads to a lot of bad habits. Habits like self-pleasure, self-grandiosity, self-seeking, overeating, overindulging in alcohol, the use of recreational drugs, unusual physical and mental thoughts, and behaviors like pornographic, sex addiction, theft, violence against others, and many other negative traits or habits. These are people that do not have a higher purpose. Remember that. If left uncorrected, these self-interested behaviors lead to many health problems, many social problems, spiritual sickness, and legal problems, right? Since somebody's got to intervene, your selfish, grandiose behavior, the police will get involved. Such legal problems such as drug addiction, jails, institutions, hospitals, and death. By not exercising, by eating dead and devitalized foods, processed foods, because you're overeating, not being able to stop sweets, or being addicted to sodas and energy drinks, we continue to become sicker and sicker and sicker. We can actually feel like we would rather be dead than go on with this horrible life. When we have a bigger purpose or something to look forward to, something we wish to acquire for the betterment of others, we find it much easier to develop our own habits that support us because we really want to support other people. And our goals become less self-seeking, less all about me. And our new thought is, how can I be helpful? I work with a lot of people in addiction. And, as someone who is more like the counselor and overcome addiction, I get these phone calls. Such and such happened. And, I'm upset about this. And, she did this and my kid didn't do that. And my dog pooped in the, on the couch, and you're on. And they're having, most people have problems with other people, by the way. Rarely do they have problems with themselves. It's always somebody else. And you know what I always said? First off, pray, meaning meditate, think of what your part is. However, all I tell them is, why don't you ask, how can I be helpful? Right? You're in a fight with your wife. This is going on. And just stop for a second and just say, honey, I just want to know, how can I be helpful? Tell me what I can do to be helpful. It works really well, by the way, instead of telling them what to do. So because of a greater purpose, we will naturally become more willing to change our bad behaviors to serve other people or to serve the goal or our greater purpose. So eating better, exercising more, not smoking, staying away from excessive alcohol, not isolating becomes easy since we now want to be part of life again because of our new, better purpose. It is hard to change your habits if you have no purpose. But when you realize that we are all connected as one in this universe, that if you improve your health and improve your life, you will be improving others' health and others' lives by your example. When you show you can achieve success in your own health, you can show and prove it, which is the most important asset we have. Let me repeat that. When you can achieve success in your own health, which is the most important asset you have, quit spending so much money on your cars, your boats, your house, your guns, whatever it is, and put some energy and time into your health. It's the most important thing you got. Others will see that in you, and they will want to emulate you, what you've done. And this brings the respect and admiration we all seek. Others will begin to look up to you, sometimes for advice, like they do with me, but more often than not, just as an example of how they should or could live if they really wanted to. We learn by example. You're not alone. I've been there. I've done it. Look at where I am today. How can I be helpful? That's pretty simple, right? But you better have the goods to show them. Don't come in and be sitting in your, hiding in the back, drinking, and then coming out, and you don't think the kids know. I took a friend of mine to my hunting lease with me, and I've known him a long time. I hadn't seen him, as he's gotten older, and he's a bit. He likes to drink. He likes to drink alcohol. I'm okay with that. It's just just don't do it all the time. But he brought his son with him. His son was about 13, and so all of a sudden he'd be gone. We had a trailer and had a nice setup. I had the hunting buggy, and we're going through some of the decoys and some of the feeders and stuff. And he kept disappearing, right? And then he would come back with a big tall cup, like one of these Yeti cups. And he actually thought his kid thought it was soda. And I was like, you're drinking in front of your son. Oh, no, he doesn't know what I'm drinking. I said, are you kidding me? I said, he's like 13 years old. He doesn't think none of my dad's always gone, and you come back and then you change and you don't think you can smell it. It was amazing that he didn't see that. But anyway, my opinion is having a greater purpose in your life is probably the most important first step that has to be taken, because without the greater purpose, other decisions that have to be made concerning food, exercise, and cleanliness will seem like chores again. It'll seem like a drag. They become a burden, and we don't want to do them for very long since nobody likes chores. When your purpose is higher than yourself, such as being an example to other people, children, a better boss, a better contributor to society, then those changes to get you to feel that way become empowering. They empower you. And you want to make those changes and stick to those changes because of the obvious benefits. All right. I think I needed to read that today. I wrote that paper. And sometimes when I read some of the stuff I've done 5-10 years ago, it just amazes me how smart I was to see that. But I've been sober for 20 plus years, and made a lot of changes in my life, and it was all because I found a higher purpose. I found a greater purpose. I want to be there for my patients, for my family, for my friends, and I didn't feel that I was doing that. And thus, it became very easy to make those changes. I still maintain that today. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, but I want to implore upon you, and I'm going to ask you one more time. We're having this food drive.